Welcome to the Airbnb Blueprint podcast, your go-to training hub for building your very own Airbnb business. In each episode, we break down the exact blueprint that helped us build a multi-six-figure Airbnb business from scratch, and we'll show you how to do the same. Continue learning with us for free in the Airbnb Blueprint coaching community on Facebook. Find the link in our show notes below. Commit, believe, succeed. Let's go. So guys, here we are back in the studio with a fresh look and a fresh banner behind us, a fresh name. This is the Airbnb Blueprint now. We are a year in, and it's been a fantastic run so far. We've had some amazing guests on the show. Previously, we were, as you know, the Airbnb Nomads. I'm sure you've been following along, and it's been great. But what we kind of found was that we just got a little bit too broad, and we wanted to bring it back going into the new year, 2025, with a new look. And we wanted to really bring it back to the roots, bring it back to what we know, bring it back to what we love, bring it back to what we want to give to you guys at home listening and watching this. We wanted to get a lot more specific with the Airbnb stroke serviced accommodation market. So from now on, guys, and I think you're going to like this, for those of you who are looking to get into the Airbnb game or who are already in the game and looking to scale, grow, systemise, automate, and build a more remote business, you're going to find it all here. We're going to turn it into much more of a training podcast. And I've got my amazing partner back with me, who's going to be here on every episode now. We've got Mr. Pooh in the studio.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me back.
Mate, it's great to have you back. And I'm really excited about the future of the podcast, pivoting a little bit and bringing it back home a little bit more specific to the service accommodation market. Like I said, it's been fantastic. We've had some amazing guests on, HMOs, flipping, obviously a lot of Airbnb as well, general business, serial entrepreneurs. But I think we want to go back to where we started, which is deep Airbnb, deep serviced accommodation, giving lots of training, lots of tips, lots of advice, and helping everybody at home get started or to scale and systemize what they've already got. So super, super excited. And in this episode, the first fresh rebrand episode of the Airbnb Blueprint, you're going to find as this podcast progresses, guys, there's going to be heaps and tons of knowledge that we're going to be giving you. It's going to be literally our blueprint that we're going to dissect, break down, and give to you in nice bite-sized chunks. And we want to start off, I think the most obvious place to start is talking about the market, talking about the business, talking about the realities of what it looks like for anybody who's listening, watching this, thinking about getting involved in the business. And something else that we want to do on this podcast, guys, and all of our training and our ethos about what we're building here is we want to keep it real, right?
100%, yeah.
We don't want to talk or oversell or hype up anything that isn't completely accurate. This is about the truth, nothing but the truth, no bullshit, no fluff, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yep.
So let's get into it. Pooh, how's the market looking? Airbnb, should we get into it or should we go off and do something completely different in 2025?
We could have a coffee afterwards, but I think Airbnb market is changing a lot since, say 5 or 10 years ago. Obviously, the place is becoming a lot more crowded. The regulations are kicking in since last October with the fire order change. And also next year as well. There's a lot of planning changes are coming in. So a lot of players in the market would have to adapt. For people who are wanting to get into the industries, they have to make sure that everything is all up to date, everything's on par with the regulations, because otherwise you can't compete with the market anymore. Otherwise you're gonna, those existing players, any amateurs, players, they're gonna get weeded out straight away. So I think that's a change that is coming really, really hard. But it is good, it's a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Compliance, regulation, licensing, all this stuff is really good for service accommodation. It was great for the HMO market. It happens in all industries, in property and across the board in whatever business that you're in. But I think, there might be a lot of people who might be sitting at home thinking that the ship's kind of sailed on Airbnb or service accommodation now that so many people are getting into it. And, you know, like I said at the beginning, we want to keep this real. We're not going to sit here and say, like so many other training providers do, that you can just go out there, take on some properties and start making tons of cash. It doesn't work like that anymore. You do have to be more educated, more professional, more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be giving you through this podcast, is the realities of what it is all about. So the question is, can you still make money with Airbnb? And obviously you can, right?
100% you can.
You absolutely can.
Yep.
You know, we got off a coaching call last night with some of our mentees. They're all absolutely killing it. But here's the thing. They're making money in various different kind of strategies around serviced accommodation. They're not putting all their eggs in that one basket of just going out and getting rent-to-rent properties and then trying to put guests in there. And this is what we do. This is what we teach and, you know, give to our mentees, is you've got to be a little bit more creative now to make sure that you're building multiple streams of income around the serviced accommodation game, around the periphery. Like I said, you can't just go out and get properties and hope for this consistent flow of high paying bookings coming through the OTAs anymore. The truth is that the market is just too busy, right? There's too many people doing it. So again, you've got to get more creative. And this is where we, you know, maybe we can talk a little bit about, you know, how do people at home who are looking to get started knowing that they're working with the right people, getting the right knowledge, based on what I've just said, that you need to make sure that you are standing out from the crowd today?
I would say that, you know, once you decided to come into the business, you have to respect and treat it as one. Previously, if you have a property, you go out and get the keys, you know, the key shot photos, and then you post it up on Facebook, on somewhere else, and said, "Hey, I've got a business." You know, you don't. You have a brand new job. You know, so if you have to think about it and then start to treat it as a business, you have to think about different functions that comes with it. You know, you have to think about marketing, you have to think about sales, you have to think about all different kind of operations involved. And then that's the only way that you can kind of, you know, separate yourself from the crowd. If we talk about, let's say, you know, within your areas, right? If you have a look at the properties and you wanted to go ahead within that particular areas, we guarantee you that when you look on booking.coms or Airbnbs, it's going to be flooded. So what can you do to be different when you get on those sites that people can actually click on your link? You know, you're going to have to do a lot more than just nice descriptions or, you know, smashing photos and how can people just stop scrolling through the page and come to you, right? That I think that's the key.
Yeah, and this is, again, coming back to what we do and teach. You know, it's all about lead generation and not relying completely on the OTAs and being a lot more creative. But something that's worth talking about here, I see a lot of people, you know, who run Facebook groups and stuff like that, and they're always asking this question, you know, why did you get into serviced accommodation or Airbnb, right? And everybody starts giving their answers. Oh, it's for cash flow and it's for this and it's for that. I think the truth is, for 99% of people that get into Airbnb or serviced accommodation, is based on a thought that it's so simple. It's the simplest strategy of any property strategy that you can get into. You know, if you pretty much anything else that involves the buying of property or the development of property or the, you know, flips or lease extensions or, you know, lease options or developments, whatever it is, they're complex. There's a lot that goes to it.
And you need capital as well.
You need capital as well.
Huge, yeah.
But I think where people go wrong is that they take it too far the other way with serviced accommodation, and they say, they think at least, oh, it's the simplest business, right? I've got £5,000-10,000. I want to get into property. I want to make a lot of money. And with Airbnb, all I have to do is go and rent a property, put it on Airbnb, and I'll make lots of money. And that's the truth as to why this strategy, this industry has got so busy and in places, yes, very saturated, because it's sold as this really, really easy, make money fast, don't need a lot of money to get into it, don't need to even really know a lot about property to make money in this game. And that really is the true draw. That's why so many people, hundreds of thousands of people every day up and down the UK are going in and learning about this. But they're learning the real basics of what people are teaching, which, yes, did work 5, 8, 10 years ago, but simply don't work today.
No.
So it's true that it is reasonably simple. It's true that you can make a good amount of money and generate high amounts of cash flow, but not with what most people are teaching.
No. So I mean, what a lot of people don't realize is that once you come into the game, you are pretty much becoming almost like a letting agencies for short-term rental. And in order to run the kind of agency that you're looking to build, you must have things in place. You have to treat it as a business. So you can't just have one letting, two lettings, one rental unit, two rentals, and then hope for the best. That doesn't work anymore. So
yeah, absolutely. So it's making that firm decision, isn't it? That are you going to come out and start a fully fledged business, or are you just going to start this little side hustle that might just supplement your income just a little bit?
And I want to say that there's no kind of dipping toes in between. I think once it's either you're in or you're out. There's no in between that, okay, I'm going to try this out for a little bit, because the consequence that could have come afterwards when doing things wrong could be, quite catastrophe, I would say.
During the, a lot of the previous episodes that I've filmed with, some great guests that we had on, and some people, there's some very specific people that come to mind that I won't mention, but some people have said that they don't need to do any, they didn't need to do any training. They just kind of, read books and watched YouTube and all the rest of it. What's your thoughts around that for people sitting at home thinking, I want to get started. There's 100 million different training providers around. I don't really know who to go to. I don't know who to trust. I'm just going to try and do it all myself.
I think that the most difficult thing is, we all chasing that shiny penny syndromes, isn't it? And obviously there are loads of information out there in the market. And it's so hard to find the one that probably kind of, you want to go with. But I think I would say that you need to find somebody that you can resonate with. Yes, you can find all the information. And I think that's quite scary as well, because now everybody just rely on Googles, rely on ChatGPTs to find information.
Yeah.
It's almost like, if you are going to see a doctor and the worst thing the doctor would want is for you to bring up Googles and said, doctor, I've read up on this. Yeah. I've got this. I've got this. Yeah. I said, no, you don't.
Yeah.
So
everybody with a headache's got a brain tumor today.
I know,
because of Google.
Yeah. So I think it's important that we work with somebody that that you can resonate with, that you like, you trust, and then let them help you to take to where you want to get to. And obviously the mentorship always changes. You're not going to have just one mentor per life. It keeps changing, but you keep growing. I think that's the exciting part of the entrepreneurship journey that we've been, because we keep growing all the time, and that's what I love about it. So
absolutely, but let's be honest, there are some really bad training providers out there, and the reason why, and this is not a sales pitch, this is not a sales technique, this is not fluff, or that's not what this is about. But the truth is that we created this Airbnb Blueprint training program that we do, that we teach, that we've created, that we do every day, and that we work with MNCs around, and the systems that we give them and the knowledge that we give them is because it's what we would have killed to have had. Right.
100%.
When we got into this game 5 years ago, and we each have put multiple tens of thousands, we're probably, I don't know, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds worth in.
We're touching 100K already. So,
yeah. And, we never really got, and that training program that we went through is still the same today, hasn't changed at all. There's a couple of other little minor additions that have come in since the, potential licensing and bits around fire regs, minimal, right? But the actual things that you need to be doing as the market gets busier in order to really build a consistently successful business for the long term, I don't really feel is there. It's not being talked about. It's not being told. It's not being taught. I don't know whether it's because they don't know how to do it or they just don't want to change things up. So that's what we've done with this, is we've created something that we would have been desperate, that we would have paid a fortune for back in the day, that wasn't really available. And you, when you were learning, you spent more than I did. You went with the fully fledged one-to-one, all the bells and whistles training mentorship program, didn't you? And, how was that for you? I know you didn't really feel like you got tons of value out of it.
I think the thing is like when you want to, when you get into the mentorship and you want to
take things to the next level,
take things to the next level,
really get into the fine detail stuff.
If you have paid for a mentor, you expect them to come back to say things to you like, you know what, that's not working. You shouldn't do that. Yeah. Stop doing this. Do this instead, and give you a kind of like a roadmap and blueprint. I know we are given stuff to do, right? And it's down to us to take the actions. So yes, you can give all the blueprint and everything away, but nothing's going to happen if you don't take any action. So it's down to each person to do it. But at least the blueprint should be there, I would say.
Yeah.
And I would have paid a lot of money for that part. At that time, desperately need to make this work. My back was against the wall. And then, a lot of times, sometimes you have to find your own way, and it's a massive struggle to get to where we are.
I think the biggest problem with these mentorship programs, and this is where we're different, is that when you join a 12-month mentorship program, it doesn't really progress as you progress, right? It kind of flatlines. So you learn a certain amount, maybe in the first couple of months, and then it just kind of stays there. But as your business starts to grow, as you take on more properties or more management deals, or you're selling deals or whatever it is that you're getting into, and you need to turn to that person who can really help you with the finer details of building a business and managing your cash flow, and how to really develop a strong marketing plan and how to build a strong brand and all these kind of things, they're not there. So you end up just sitting on the same table talking about the same bullshit every month about going to car parks at 3 a.m. and putting flyers on vans and all this stuff. And you're sitting there thinking, why am I listening and talking about the same stuff that I was talking about 6 months ago on my first mastermind session, surrounded by people that have just joined, that are at the beginning of their journey? I need to be around people now that are up here. I need to be leveling up. I need to be talking about advanced stuff, and I need the support to get there. And that on most programs just isn't there.
A lot of people would come back and say, you know what, it's always about the strategies. It's always about rent to rent. It's always about how to get the deals, blah, blah, blah. Nobody talks about lead generation. Nobody talks about sales. Nobody talks about, systemizations, how to use AI to help things, what do you do with your tax, how to make it work properly, how do you draw your income, how to do the actual KPIs, so you know exactly where we are each month going forward. There's a lot of things that are missing from the whole training space. What about like sales user experience? Those kind of things, nobody talks about it.
It's funny because it is in every other business, there is that, it does grow as you grow that training. Yep. People will go to different places and get the specific targeted training that they need. Yep. Whereas in property, maybe because it's, it's not very regulated and anyone can kind of do it. It's just a one shoe fits all. I
still think it's quite, I think it's almost every industry is the same. And we've, spoken to other people from different industries as well. And they said, yeah, it's the same thing. Nobody really talks about it. It's only a few certain individuals that are extremely successful in it. They're really pinned down on one thing. But I think to have a generic idea of how the business run is really important, because, everyone gets drawn to this cash flow thing, right? There wouldn't be any cash flow if you don't know how to run the business.
And that is the biggest mistake, is that you go to the mastermind, whether it's every month or whether it's, over the phone, on Zoom, whatever. And it's the same conversations. It's all about find more properties, take on more properties, get more deals. So, it's all centered around, speaking to agents and going to networking events and talking to your friends and family, telling everyone who you are, everyone what you're doing. And yes, that is good advice. But what about when you get the deals and you take on the more properties? If you haven't got these mega strong foundations of understanding, well, can I afford it? How's my cash flow looking? What's the KPIs looking like? How have we been doing on this property? Digging deep into that. Is it something that we want to keep on? Is it something we want to let go? All this kind of deeper stuff. And also knowing, okay, if I take on this property, the kind of level of research kind of stops with, okay, well, you want to take on that property? Okay, just go on Airbnb, have a look, around that area. And if their calendar's full, then you're good. That's kind of where it ends. Instead of having a real detailed plan of, okay, this is how I'm going to attack it. This is who I'm going to target. This is how I'm going to generate leads. This is the people that I'm going to contact.
Yep.
Before you sign on the dotted line, there's so much more to it. And I think that's why so many people end up falling over within the first few months. Right?
I mean, it scares me, like when I first started, when I think about it as well, that, I wanted to have like 200, 300, 400 properties, right? But as we get into it, I quickly came to realize that actually, it's not about the number of units anymore. It's about the profits that you make and how much do you actually keep. So if you didn't know about that part, we would have like been screwed over and over again. So I think for a lot of people, I think it's important that, if you understand the numbers, if you understand the game, the niche market that you're trying to serve, that's so much more important than just getting more and more properties that don't make you any money.
We see it time and time again, right? And we speak about it quite a lot is, you see the posts on Facebook, hey guys, I've just locked in this 4-month booking.
Yeah.
I've just made $8,000, in the pocket. And then there's 1,000 comments of, celebrations.
Congratulations.
But the fact is the property costs them $2,200 a month, so they're actually losing money. So, we made a decision, when we started to build this business, and this is something else, you've got to have, for every mentee that we work with, after we've decided, are you right for us? Are we right for you? Okay, let's do this. The first thing you need to do is we sit down and we spend a good amount of time really carving out that clear vision board of where they want to get to. By when do they want to get there? What's their ideal life look like? Why are you doing this?
Yep.
Why are you trying to get out of your job to get into building this business? Are you ready to take on the work? Are you ready to make the sacrifice? Are you ready to start taking the stuff home with you to bed at night while you're going through all the teething problems of getting this thing off the ground for the benefit of that long-term success? And when we got into this business, we did that, and we were, I said, okay, I know that I want to spend time abroad. You knew that you wanted to get out of your corporate job and spend time at home with your young family. So we never set out to build a 200-300 unit portfolio. It was all about building a business that was tight, that was consistently making money, and that would give us the life that we wanted as quickly as possible. And we're there, right? So this journey now with Airbnb Blueprint is about giving that key, unlocking that door to as many other people as we can with the truth, with the reality, with the real hard work that you need to do, with the right amount of knowledge that you need, with the systems, with the automation, with the knowledge, with the brand, all of that in today's market, not a market that existed 5 years ago where there was, a couple of 100,000 less hosts, right? So that's what we're trying to do here, guys, with this business, is to give people the opportunity, because I think for most people, and this is the best thing about being in this space, and people might say, well, if you're doing so well, why don't you just carry on doing what you do and all the rest of it? Yeah, there's an element of that, it's a valid question. But I think there's so many people now that are struggling, where life has gone from being fun, full of adventure, full of travel, time with family, with loved ones, having that freedom to enjoy their time. It's just gone to an existence and a struggle and a survival.
Yep.
And being able to help people to dig themselves out of that and create a business that can start to very quickly overtake their income from their job with less time needed, without physically having to be there, with the opportunity to start to build things remotely if they want to move away or potentially move abroad, like so many people are doing now. Unfortunately, leaving the UK because it's just not really a supportive place for business, or at least the lifestyle that comes with the benefits of being in business. So being able to give the people at home that opportunity, that's why we do it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep. So,
and having the conversation last night on our coaching call, and listening
we
to...
We get a lot of massive, kicks for ourselves as well. It feels so great just to be able to share things with them, to be, it's almost like a very close-knitted family in a way.
Yeah. It really is.
I have to say, I love it. It's amazing. So.
It really, really is. But it is, being completely honest, and, hopefully over the time as these episodes come out and the Airbnb Blueprint starts to find its feet, it will be clear of our intentions about being genuine and ethical and really bringing true knowledge, not just here, but within the, the Facebook community that we're just starting to build now, of our genuine intentions, right? To raise the level. And this is a big part of what we're trying to raise the level of education within this space and bring a lot more ethics to it. Instead of having these constant conversations with people that have coming off the back of other training courses, or even who are currently with a training provider, with a mentor that they've paid a lot of money for, who are then coming to us in a really bad way, about to make really bad decisions because they're not getting this kind of support and accountability and level of knowledge that they're paid for. And then we're having to kind of help them with that. So, we just want to raise the level, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And kind of, just help people to make the most of their time on this world, because it's finite time.
Yeah.
Right. Time is that one thing that you just can't get back. And I don't know about you, but, getting into the 40s now, I'm like, okay, I really want to start enjoying my time. I don't want to spend any time in a place around people that I don't want to be with, doing something that I don't want to do, in a place that I don't want to be in. I just want to be making the most of my time.
Yeah, well, I'm still spending a lot of time in the soft play areas. So
yeah, but you love that.
So yeah,
you love being with the kids. You wouldn't change that, even if
I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
If you won the Powerball tomorrow, the Euro Millions tomorrow, you'd still do the same thing. I'm still going to do the same.
Yep, I've got 4.5 hours sleep today. Yeah, and, I'm still going to do it.
And you're loving it. So, guys, I think we can wrap up that first episode. Really just a bit of a break in to the Airbnb Blueprint. As we go through this transition, as we bring it back a lot more niche down into the Airbnb serviced accommodation game. This podcast will be more of a training podcast. Lots of trainings, lots of good conversations. We're going to tackle different topics every single week. That's going to help you build the pillars, a really strong foundation for your own business and your own Airbnb business as you start or as you grow. We're going to go right from the beginning basics and take it right through to the more advanced stuff. And we will be having, probably once a month, we'll bring in some industry leaders, and we'll still have some conversations with those people. But we're definitely going to be, just the two of us kind of breaking it down and bringing it back to more of a grassroots level.
Yeah. But I think, obviously, there's going to be a lot of awesome people coming on the show as well. And we're super, super excited to, I don't want to break the ice right now, but
it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys, listen, don't forget, head over to our Facebook community group, the Airbnb Blueprint coaching community. All the links for that are in the show notes. It's completely free. And in there, we're going to be doing endless amounts of bite-sized masterclasses. We're going to be doing bi-weekly webinars. We're going to be having guest speakers coming in. We're going to be giving away tons of stuff, loads of promotions, loads of giveaways, loads of opportunities to work more directly with us, as part of a lot of those promotional giveaways. So you definitely want to be part of that if you're looking to build a truly successful Airbnb business for 2025 and beyond. So find the link in the show notes. And until next week, we'll see you then on another episode of the Airbnb Blueprint podcast. Take care.